Welcome to Geek Caring, a critical geek culture podcast where we talk about intersectional and inclusive feminism in a male-dominated environment. Hi, my name is Moni, and with me today is my lovely, glorious, amazing, in a grey sweatshirt and with a really nice new backdrop, which you on the podcast unfortunately cannot see, co-host Amanda. Hi, Amanda. How are you doing?
Hi, Moni. I'm doing very well, thank you. With your factually incorrect statement.
Why is it factually incorrect?
I'm wearing a t-shirt, not a sweatshirt.
Oh, that's just me and language not doing well together.
Factually incorrect. How are you doing?
Sorry. I'm doing well. I'm doing particularly well because, once again, we're not alone.
We are not.
I mean, we're never really alone, but today we were, actually not alone.
Moni getting philosophical with us today.
Maybe there was just a pre-chat that made me very philosophical.
Okay.
But we have another amazing guest on. Hi, Jay.
Is this Jay in the room with us now? Hello.
Who said that?
Is this a joke to some reference that I just don't understand, I guess?
I don't know what it's in reference to. I just copy it because people say it to me.
It's
really?
Yeah.
I assume it's something to do with seances or speaking to the other side. Be like, oh, is there someone in the room with us today?
Yeah, I think it's that there's a meme, but I don't know anything. Hello, I'm Jay. I don't know anything.
Perfect. We love guests who don't know anything.
I really want to know more about the thing that we don't know anything about now, though, to be honest. It must be from a movie, because why is it otherwise just from Jay?
I didn't know it was a meme.
Oh, never mind then.
Oh, wow.
Everything is a meme.
Debs
Everything
with
is a meme.
Shade. Debs in chat just said Jay will fit right in with guests that don't know anything.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure which of us should be more insulted by that.
I know. I think we're all equally insulted.
We're all implicated in that.
Yes.
I'm not so easily insulted, so I'm just fine and rolling with it.
It's a good way to be.
Yeah. Fair. All right. You want to take us away, Moni?
Okay. So, Jay, we all know, people who are in our Twitch chat, they all kind of know Jay. And if you don't know Jay, what the fuck's wrong with you? But there comes the German. We invited Jay on because not only we want to talk about with them about their streaming journey, but also about their work and things. Because Jay has a very great work, which you can please tell us a bit more about when you tell us who you are and what you do.
Should I do that now?
Yes. Sorry, that wasn't the great with it. Please.
It's okay.
This is actually why I normally lead the interviews. Yeah.
I'm so bad at
It's
this.
fine. It's all good. Hello. Yeah, my name's Jay. A lot of you probably know me as Aranus TV. I've been streaming on Twitch for 3 years almost now. I started up during the pandemic. I play things until I don't want to play them anymore. It's probably the best way I can put it. Yeah, I'm a queer and neurodiverse challenge creator / variety streamer / I have ADHD and I do what it tells me when it comes to content. But also, yeah, I since September last year, I've worked for War Child UK, which is a international development charity based in the UK that support kids who are whose lives have been impacted by war and conflict. So I work in the gaming partnerships team. So we do a lot of work with the video game industry, fundraising, and a lot of streaming campaigns as well, and lots of other fun things too. So that's me.
That's so cool.
We're very, very glad to have you here to get to know you a bit better and also to hear about your work with War Child, because that's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
But before we do that, can we go into our rapid fire round and fire a bunch of questions at you?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Excellent. So where are you from?
I'm from a small town called Nuneaton in the Midlands of the UK, which is the birthplace of George Eliot and sadness.
George Eliot and sadness.
Did you say sadness?
Yes.
Aww.
I'm sorry that you know where that is, Tom. I'm very sorry.
And what are your pronouns?
I use he, him, or they, them. Either is fine.
Thank you. And when are you a geek since? So a year and maybe a story of your first geeky experience?
Probably just birth. Like, I like the one consistent memory I have in my life is playing games. Like my earliest memories are sometime a long time ago. I couldn't say when or how old I was, but my dad playing like Sonic on the Sega Mega Drive and me watching. And then my first memory of me playing games was getting a Game Boy Color for Christmas, and getting Pokemon Red and Blue. So I think that might have been like 1996. So a long time, many years.
Nice.
Many years.
It says 1996 as if it's so long ago.
It was 27 years ago, Bonnie.
No, it wasn't. Stop that.
Literally, the other day I was like,
I just had to do math and I'm like, oh my God, it was 27 years ago.
The other day somebody was talking about how long people have been, because I was watching, that's totally unrelated, but I was watching Welcome to Wrexham, and I was like, they are in this league for 15 years, and in my head I'm like, wow, since somewhere in the 90s, and then I realized that 15 years is not remotely somewhere in the 90s, and it just really hurt my heart so hard.
I still find it upsetting that anyone born after the year 2000 is over 18. Like, that is just something that does not compute in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at all.
My nephew can legally drink everywhere now.
Yeah.
It's also very upsetting.
It's like I've seen a meme going around. Oh, how did you, like, when you're getting ID'd or your ID checked, and you're like, oh, how did you look at that so fast? And you're like, oh, I saw the 19 in your birth year. And it's like, oh.
Oh no.
Dead.
I cannot remember the last time I was ID'd. Well, I can, but it wasn't because of an age-related thing. It was because of I needed to show the pharmacy a proof of address thing.
That's fair. I got ID'd buying alcohol when I was home in Canada last year. I was like,
I love that for you, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of at the point now where I feel flattered if someone ID'd me.
I just always think it's funny. Like, I used to, like 2 or 3 years ago, they ID'd me because I had to buy cigarettes for a friend of mine. And then they ID'd me, and I was way over 30 by that time. So I'm just always having a grand old time showing them my ID that they don't even think I'm, 16? But yeah.
Yeah. So, what are some of your biggest geeky influences? So you can think like books, movies, TV shows, teachers, games, anything else?
I was just like born and thrust into the world of Nintendo quite quickly. So a lot of my like video game interests, like from like the age of 3 years old, were like playing Pokemon, playing Smash Bros, playing Zelda. So like Pokemon and Zelda are a huge, have been like very formative in like the kinds of things that I enjoy doing. Just in general, like I think I can split it down into like fantasy and camp horror. So,
Camp horror.
It's this really weird intersection I find of like Resident Evil, but the films. So it's like Mila Jovovich. It's all like kind of Quentin Tarantino-esque, and it's all trying to be like all epic and edgy, but it's just really bad and funny. And I suppose the one thing and like the one franchise that I really really love now is Bayonetta. Like Bayonetta is just fantastic, and a really good and very strange example of the intersection of like where my interests are.
I have the Bayonetta games because I really want to play them, and I haven't done it yet, but I should.
The first one is very hard, but you have to stick with it. But 2 and 3 are a lot more approachable, and just as good. I could probably should write a video essay on Bayonetta 3 and why it is like in my opinion, like the peak of like action video games from the last 20 years.
That's the latest one now, though, right? That just came out recently.
It came out in October of last year, and it's just one of those games that it kind of gives you a lot of things that you expect, and then every time you think you figured out what the game wants to give you, or you think you've seen everything it can throw at you, it throws a complete curveball at you. and it just, every second you think it cannot possibly get more ridiculous, and it literally just never stops getting more ridiculous. Like all the way through. It's ridiculous. It's so good.
I would really like to watch that video essay, so please do that.
In this essay, I will.
So you can include that in your current geeky pastimes, or tell us what your other ones are.
So yeah, I play a lot of video games, but outside of that, a lot of Magic the Gathering recently. So me and my partner have been playing Magic together for quite a few years. He got me into it back in 2018, 2019. And I've had like a love-hate relationship with it over the years, because it's like a collectible card game. It's an expensive hobby, and also sometimes I don't like how the stuff plays, or I just like, I'm not interested in that world or whatever, because it's a card game, but it also has a very like deep story, and like each set is based on like a different like multiverse plane, so they have their own feel and all that kind of stuff. But the set they've released most recently is basically the Magic equivalent of like Infinity War.
Ooh.
In that they've brought together like all of these characters from all of these different like universes, all to bring them together to fight against this big baddie that's simultaneously invaded the entire multiverse at the same time. And with the story around it was all very cool, and it brought in a lot of lore from like 30 years ago, so it really like gripped me. And it's actually a really fun set to play as well, so that like I'm still going back to it. And then
Nice.
I'm a big board game geek as well. We have a lot of me and Ben have quite a big board game selection. We had friends around to play board games yesterday. We played the Stardew Valley board game, which is very fun. Yeah. And then also I live on Twitch. Like, this is my life. Hello. If I'm not streaming, I'm in someone's chat.
I mean, is that a mood?
I want to spend more time on Twitch. I do not spend very much time.
Now that I also like speak to creators for my work, it really has just become like my whole life.
Yeah.
It's like it's work and it's enjoyment and it's streaming. So it's
I kind of love when like your everything is the same thing, because then like nothing feels like work.
very true.
I mean, work still feels
yes
like work.
and no,
but,
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I already have so many questions, but I'm not sure if I should ask them already.
Okay, well let's get into it. Ernest,
Yeah.
Jay, thank you so much for going through the rapid fire round. It was quicker than it has been, so yay you got like a gold star.
You said rapid. I came to rapid.
It was good. It was good. So today we are talking about you and Charity Games Partnerships, War Child UK, your content creation, and everything around that. So, do you want to get us started, I guess, with some of your experience streaming and working for War Child UK?
Yeah. So I like I said, words are hard. Like I said earlier, I started streaming in 2020. I'm a Twitch pandemic baby, like a lot of people.
As we all are, I think.
Yeah, as we all are, I think, at this point. And yeah, I started doing it because I had a lot of friends in different friend groups who were kind of locked down on their own and didn't really have any friends or family nearby. So I was like, oh, I can kind of use this to get people that don't know each other together and like do some kind of social thing across all of them so that they don't feel so alone. And yeah, I did one stream for an hour of Ori and the Blind Forest, and I was too scared to say anything.
Oh, bless you.
Like no cam, no
How
mic.
did you do that with Ori?
Yeah. I just screamed with no microphone on, is what happened.
Sad we missed that, to be honest.
Yeah, and then from there, it just very much became something that I fell in love with, and I was like, right, what do I want to use this space for? And at the time, I didn't have a lot of like queer friends, so I wanted it to be kind of me being visibly queer, and kind of unapologetically like making that space for people to do the same. While I was doing it, especially in the first couple of years, I did some really amazing like charity fundraising work with people like Hannah Rutherford. I did a massive Pride Month fundraiser in August of 2021 across 4 different charities. And And yeah, I got to around September, well, it was kind of like June 2021, and I realized that my work needed to be something that I cared about as much as streaming and my charity fundraising. So at the time, I was working quite a high pressure job in pharmaceuticals. During the pandemic, there was no furlough for me. I worked in like production for pharmaceuticals, so it was like it got worse from day one. It was like high stress, like work. I was working like 50, 60-hour weeks.
Oh gosh.
And I just got to a point where I was like, I hate this. I'm good at it, but I hate it, and I don't want to do it anymore. So I just quit. And I explored being a full-time creator for almost a year, which I really enjoyed. And I was like this close to being able to like afford to do it. And then cost of living started going up. So I was like reassessing where I was at, and I was like, okay, well, the two things that I've learned from this over the last few years are that I love the games industry and I love charity. Like I love like humanitarian work. And I realized that I needed to do something that I loved, but it was also very important to me to do something that like aligned with my values, because I've always wanted to be someone who puts more good into the world than bad. And so, yeah, I just started speaking to people that I knew within the charity sector. So you'll all know the Charity Special Effect, the like disabled gamers charity. Their community manager page is incredible. And I said, hello, I want a job in charity games, please. And she was like, we don't have any, but let's get you meeting people. So she introduced me to loads of great people, which eventually led me to see the games partnership exec job posted on Warchild's website. Out in advance. I'd fundraised for them as a streamer during the invasion of Ukraine, because I think like a lot of people, I just wanted to do something like straight away. I felt like a need to respond in whatever way I could. And also, really strangely, one of my old housemates from uni worked at Warchild for 5 years, and I knew that she worked there. So I kind of already knew what the organization was and what they did. So yeah, we ended up not crossing over because she left just as I started. But it was still like kind of nice to know a bit about Warchild. Yeah, so I applied, I interviewed, and I got the job. And it's just been, like I've been there for 9 months now, 8 months, and it's been incredible. Like it's such an unbelievable organization. Like the work that Warchild does is so important because there are so few people doing what Warchild do. Just in terms of, I don't know any other charities whose sole focus is like looking after kids who are victims of conflict or being affected by conflict. And I know it's a little bit kind of white saviory or like a little bit hypocritical to almost only care about that now that it's happened in Europe. Or not care, but like to feel like compelled to do something about it. But obviously Warchild supports Ukraine, but also they work in Afghanistan, in Yemen, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Central African Republic. So there's a lot of work in a lot of places, and yeah, it's just unbelievable, like how driven everyone is by the mission and what we do, and how resilient everyone is, especially people who work in the programs team, because they have to like see some quite harrowing things, and people go out and they interview like kids and like parents of kids who have been influenced, like whose lives have been influenced by war and conflict, and it's like it can be quite emotionally draining, but it really makes it feel like what I do is very important. And I finished work this is the first job I've had where I can say like I love my job, and like I finished work every day and I don't feel like exhausted in the way that I used to when I was working in corporate. I feel like even if I've just made like one step towards what I'm working towards, I feel like I've done another step towards something really good. So yeah, that's kind of a whistle stop tour, I guess. Of sort of like streaming, and then I should probably throw in I'm a member of Cosmic Hearts as well, which is a a content creation team, Twitch team, which is focused on fundraising for various organizations. So yeah, that's that.
So your whole life is fundraising. I love
Yeah,
that.
it is.
And, I know that we said this before, but congratulations on getting a job in the charity sector, doing
Thank you.
something that you love, because, I mean, there's no greater thing than really following what your heart wants to do.
Yeah, and
to
I'm
do
aware
good.
of how rare it is as well to like be in a role that like aligns so well with how you personally feel, and yeah, makes you feel like you're getting a lot of satisfaction out of it, because it's like the compass points are like pointing in the same direction.
I love that for you. You mentioned that at the end of the day, you've come home and you're just like, that was a great day. What do your days look like? What does your job entail?
So it's very changeable. We're primarily like a project team slash an accounts team. So we like Warchild, like the gaming team, has a long-standing relationship with Sports Interactive, who are part of Sega, and they publish Football Manager. So we get support from them every year. We do a lot of talking to video game studios around like fundraising activity, and a lot of like just meeting and talking to people. We get a lot of people who are very excited to kind of engage with us, and it's very much just figuring out how we can do something together to kind of like raise funds and like raise awareness about our mission as well. So like I say, a lot of talking, a lot of admin. I do so much admin, and like no 2 days look the same. It's such a variable environment, and as a person who is neurodiverse in such a way that my brain requires constant novelty in order to do anything, it's very helpful that I don't feel like I'm not grinding away at one thing day after day. It's like I'm juggling a lot of plates and ticking things off as I go.
I love
That's
that
a
for
big
you.
also, because I mean you're there now for 9 months, so that's already a reasonable amount of time to be aware that you're not in the like it's not the fresh beginning of it. You're already long enough to be like, this is what what every day to day looks like now.
Yeah.
So you know that it's still very interchangeable and very interesting for you to do still. That's really cool.
It is great. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about when I first started, it was like, hi, welcome. It's your first day. Here's loads of work to do. Because I've had other jobs where it's been like, yeah, well, you're on your 6-month probation, so we'll spend like 3 months training you on how to use the IT equipment and how the system works. And Warchild was like, right, you're here. We need you. Like, let's go.
Let's get stuck in.
Which I think is quite indicative of the whole charity sector in general. It's very... There's not a lot of time for the corporate waffle side. It's this is what needs to be done. Go do it.
For sure. You said before that you obviously a lot of your life revolves around that too. So, but how do you make a difference? And how easy for you is it to not feel like you're working all the time? How can you shut down for yourself and like see that this is my me time now and this is my work time now? How do you have create a work-life balance, so to speak, even though it depends on how much you love the words?
So that is genuinely something that I've struggled quite a lot with, and it's like it's not at all because of like pressures from work or anything. It's all like me. And like you say, like when your work involves doing something that you love, it's very easy to not switch off from it. So what I've had to do actually is I have my weeks planned out on an Excel spreadsheet, and like I have the work block, and then like which is the amount like my contracted hours or whatever. I always end up working more because everyone does, don't they? But so I have that, and then I have all the other stuff that I want to get done, or I want to do during the week, that's separate from work. Just so like my gym times are planned in, and like if I want to spend an afternoon or an evening, playing games, that's in there. and like board game nights are planned in and dog walks, just so that I have to be really structured with my time outside of work, just to make sure that when I'm sat there and like it's 6 o'clock and I've like finished up doing what I'm doing for work, but I'm still like in the Twitch chat, like I haven't stepped away because I work on the same computer that I stream from, and I just have to be like, I'm eating into my own time now, and I need to step away. So I really want to build like a much better like, this is my work is over ritual, which is, I think, even if it's just like arbitrarily shutting down my computer, walking away to get a drink, and then coming back into the room and turning it back on or something.
Anything that gives that distinction for your brain.
And it's also really important just from my kind of ADHD experience as well, because my brain will go forever on something that it enjoys doing, and it's really easy for me to burn myself out, because I'm not super conscious of the amount of energy that I'm spending on things until I've spent too much, basically. So just a lot of managing my own time.
I mean, I think it's also so much more difficult now, especially after COVID, because so many more people work from home as well. So especially that distinguisher is gone now, right? Like for a lot of people. And I think we underestimate how much impact that also has on your ability to distinguish work from joy, even though it's like so closely related. And it's so easy to just keep going, right? It's so simple to...
And I had to be really real with myself about like what I wanted from content creation, and what I wanted, but also like what I'm currently capable of doing. I think that's the one thing that I've ignored for the last 3 years is like, sure, I have all of these like massive dreams about becoming a Twitch partner and like putting out content every day on like TikTok and like Instagram reels and stuff, and like I want to do like newsletters and all of these amazing things. But I'm like, right, I work a full-time job. We've just got a puppy, and I also want to go to the gym 3 times a week. So now that those things are things that can't move in my life,
something needs to give.
And I was a little bit sad because recently I've cut down to 2 streams a week, which I've been doing 3 streams a week since I started. So that felt like in a sense, it felt like a little bit of a step back. But I had to really get used to the phrase of not now. And I think like not now is a really powerful like phrase, because I'm not giving up on like putting in the effort to become a Twitch partner. I'm not giving up on these ideas of like making more content for other platforms. I'm just saying right now I can't do it because I want to focus on my career and my home life and my like physical existence and my health. So I have to scale back a little bit.
I also blame COVID for that. But I blame COVID for the fact that a lot of people thought that it's so easy to be super successful on Twitch because obviously so many more people were on the platform for like years, right? And now with everybody going back to work, I feel like if everybody noticed the drop of viewers, of followers, of everything, because we're just falling back into the pre-pandemic situation now. And I think a lot of people took that updrift during the pandemic and like got all these things super quickly. Like they got partner even though they just started to stream like a couple of months before and stuff. So it's so easy to also feel like you're not as successful as they are. But there are so many other streamers who have been streaming on Twitch for years and years and years and years before there was even remotely anything close to them making partners. So I think it's always really important to focus on why you even started doing it. And as you said, you wanted to create a community where a lot of queer folks can meet each other. And that was your initial drive for it. And that's still valid, even if you have like have, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 people in chat or whatever, depending on how many viewers everybody has. So that's still just as valid, and it isn't less valid if you have less viewers compared to like 100 of them or whatever. Like I feel it's just so important to remember why you start doing it and that you enjoy the act of doing it than focusing on everything else around it. Like, oh my God, I haven't grown my channel in the time that I thought I would, or I haven't reached partner yet because of whatever. There's so many people who sit there with one viewer and they lose their shit when they get like 5 or something and celebrate it. But we are like, because we're in this community where there's so many people who started streaming and then have a certain amount of viewers so soon, it's just so easy to think like, oh, I'm not doing so well and everything is shit. But your reason is a different one why you started out doing it in the first place as well.
Yeah, and that's definitely like an experience that I've had of like, I not like exploded, but like I grew quite quickly when I started, and then have just kind of stayed there with like ups and downs over the time for the last, like, I'd say it's probably the last like year has been just kind of like the same kind of like statistically, I guess. And I had to, it had to remind myself a lot recently of like, why am I doing this? And also when I realized that I started doing it because I love Twitch. Like I've been a viewer on Twitch since like 2014. I love the space. I've made so many friends on it. And I just kind of I started because I wanted to take up space. I didn't say I wanted the space to be X size. So I've really stripped back a lot of the pressure that I put on myself, because we're the only people that put pressure on ourselves as creator. Like it's only us, no one else does. So I stripped a lot of that back just to say, you know, well, this is what I like playing, and this is the content that I like making, and this is the content that I like watching. So I'm going to make that. Like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to play those games. I'm not going to commit to endless, like full playthroughs of games. I'm just going to do what I want, and I'm going to enjoy it, and it's going to be a better experience for everyone because I'm enjoying it. And it's taken me a very long time to get there, with a lot of work on myself. But it really is important to love it, because it takes too long. This like Twitch is too much time to not like it. Like
it's also too fickle too, right? Like there are people here who do it full time. They still struggle with like if their income or whatever. Like there's so many things that are impacted by all of this, and if you just it is difficult. You have to just find what makes you happy with it, because if you're chasing the partnership and chasing the numbers and chasing like a career, there's so little of that you have control over. Like almost none of it, you can't control. So it's be nice to yourself, people. Content's hard and it's draining, but when you like it, it's rewarding, really rewarding, and you can do a lot of really good things. And your viewership doesn't like say anything about you as a person whatsoever. Yeah, that's so true. Also, if you imagine all those people in one room, even if it's not a lot of people, right? Even if it feels like it's not a lot of people, but every person is valid, right? So
15 people in a room is enough for me to have to disappear every half an hour to have 5 minutes apiece.
Honestly,
like that is a lot of people to be like that. That's like as a socially anxious person, that's an overwhelming number of people in one room. It feels less when it's a number, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it really
of course.
Like even if you've got like 5 or 6 people in chat with you and they're all focused on you, right? And it's like that's like DMing around a table, like GMing a game, and it's like that's not a small number of people to be entertaining.
It's quite an intense social situation. It really is. And Twitch is like it could often feel like, well, it does feel like the attention's all on you, because it is. You're having a vocal conversation with people that are texting at you, basically.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of interpretation and stuff involved. It's very very difficult to learn, I think.
Yeah. Also because there's always so many things going on at the same time. And that's what always pissed me off, when people just come into streaming and they're like, you are just playing a video game or whatever. And I'm like, you have no idea what people do behind the scenes for this for all this shit to work, right?
You have no idea how many times I threatened my computer.
That, for example, or if you want to really focus on like growing, you can't just show up on Twitch and that's it, right? And it's like running your own business, and that's really fucking hard.
Yeah, I've had to do I've had to do tax returns. It's
Well,
easy.
welcome to the club. It's the worst fucking thing to ever exist. Eh? Fucking taxes.
Cheesy says threaten is a late term, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. About the computers, we'll just be very clear. Threaten the computers.
I've only thrown one thing because of a stream, but I was playing Super Mario Sunshine, and just that game, no. It's too hard for me, and I'm too old to have the patience for it. So I got a game over. I took the cartridge out. I put it in the box. I threw the box across the room.
I mean, that's a very elaborate path to throwing something, to be honest.
Very meditated.
I'm ashamed to say that I still like toss my controller in like frustration. I'm like, these are expensive. Stop doing this, Amanda.
I'm glad I never actually did that. My nephew ruined a bunch of his controllers out of anger I think towards FIFA or something. But I've never broken a controller in my life.
I went through quite a few controllers because of Super Smash Bros. Melee back in the day.
Aww.
Yeah. I was bad at it as well, so that makes it even worse.
I don't understand where I had the patience as a child. Like when I tried doing the old things now, I'm already over it after 5 minutes. This is shit. This is annoying. Go away. But yeah, surprising.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I want to word this? How has your experience on Twitch helped shape your role with War Child? And like what benefits does your Twitch experience bring to the role?
I think it really helps that I understand how much effort goes into charity campaigns on Twitch. Ben's just walked past with the dogs. So because I've run so many charity campaigns and I took part in so many other people's, I really have an understanding of like how much effort it is for a creator to support a charity. It's not just like, oh, I'll set it up and go. Like, it's hard. So I like knowing what I'm asking and how to support and how to make it easier has been a massive boon. Just like because I believe in Twitch and content creators so much as a force for good and what they can do, I think it really helps me to cut through a lot of the noise, I guess. And it really helps me to know like what I'm looking for when I'm wanting to work with people. And also just, like an understanding of the wider context of Twitch and knowing like, is now a good time to do something? Is now not a good time to do something? So it has really helped me. And then, just like having so many friends to like bounce ideas off and come to for help as well. It's like I'm doing two different jobs in the same sphere is how it feels, because like I have the streaming side and then I have the like the partnerships and the campaign side. So it's just like I see each side of the coin rather than just one side, which I think it's something you can only do if you're a streamer. Like it's difficult. It's really difficult, I think, because the average person doesn't know how much effort goes into a charity campaign. It's difficult to know. I completely lost my train of thought, but I think you understand the point that I'm making.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you. And knowing both sides, so you said that like there's a lot more that goes into raising money as a Twitch streamer than just like showing up and raising money. Can you like talk about some of the best things, best tips, tricks, guidance for Twitch streamers who want to partner with a charity and actually raise like money?
Raise money for War Child. I'm really great. I'll help you get set up. No, I think don't be afraid to reach out to charities in general when you want to fundraise for them, and always check Tiltify first, because Tiltify is such an incredible fundraising program, and YouTube is a surprisingly good resource for the technical side of how to set up a charity stream, because there will always be an aspect of it that you will forget, like whether it's setting the alerts up properly or setting the right page active or actually publishing your page on Tiltify is something that people frequently forget to do. And yeah, just like really think about how you're going to be encouraging your community to take part as well, is also very, very helpful. So like how can you make it fun for them? Because that always does a little bit better than just like having the bar on screen and saying, hey, we're fundraising. So yeah, fundraise for War Child on Tiltify and ask me for advice.
I love that. What are some like of the most creative ways that you've seen streamers fundraise? Like, what's been something that's just out there that you've been like, oh, that was really freaking cool?
I know this is like not even super out there. This is actually quite like something that you see a lot, but I just love it when people put stickers on themselves. Like I don't know what it is about it, but I do. And then I don't know if either of you have ever seen Loading Ready Run. They're a Canadian content company. They're enormous. They're based in BC, and they do. Like they have like they run their channel almost like they run it like a TV channel. Like they have set times for set shows. But every year they do a fundraiser called Desert Bus for Hope, and it is an uncapped subathon. It's kind of capped because basically every $1,000 or something like that they add an hour, and the level of creativity that goes into that. Like it's an enormous operation, and it raised like 3 million Canadian dollars last year.
Oh wow!
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, they have like, it's just like a really powerful example of like community activated fundraising. They have people that like make art and give them to auction off or like to raffle off. They are friends with a forge company who forge actual like real size video game weapons to auction off. So last year they had
so cool.
So last year they auctioned off like a life-size replica of the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII. They've done the Master Sword from Zelda. They've done the Minecraft Diamond Sword as well.
I really want the Master Sword now.
Yeah, and it runs all through the night. They have some really unhinged stuff that happens from 12 a.m. till 6 a.m. because obviously they're all knackered. But yeah, just like chill Lego stuff that they do as well. Like it's when it comes back round this summer, I would highly recommend watching it because there are so many different avenues that feed into it. They also have someone whose role in the company is like snack supplier or like food sourcer, and his job is to just get them like bring them takeaways all the time and like
I love that.
coordinate with like donors in the chat to pay for like pizza takeout and stuff for people on stream. Like it's great. It's a really cool example of a fundraising activity that's been ongoing now for like 10 years at least, if not longer. That has like scaled up from some guys in their basement. Like that's where it started in 2009, so cool. I think the first one, to this like multi-million-dollar fundraising activity that just seems to get bigger and better every year. And like when they're in the final like minute or 10 minutes, they all sang the final countdown on repeat. But instead of the final countdown, it was the final bust down. And they had like a proper like disco party going with like confetti, and it's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing.
Oh, that actually sounds really, really cool.
Yeah, it's great, and it's just like 24 hours a day of content for like 2 weeks. So,
wow,
yeah,
that's amazing.
Shout out to Loading Ready Run, they're absolute legends. Like, they're so good.
We'll link to them in the show notes as well, just because that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
I just need the link for me.
That too, yeah.
Nom-ordinator, that's it. The person who fetches the food is the nom-ordinator.
That is perfect. I love that. I think I would be a very good nom-ordinator.
I'd be great at sourcing it. I would be great at distributing it.
I mean, this is a very big mood.
Money at the beginning.
Distribute it into me.
Yeah, just distribute it to my mouth. At the beginning of our chat, Money, you said you had a lot of questions for Jay.
I already asked the big. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Just checking.
No, all good.
Cool. Before I wrap this up, Jay, is there anything else that you want to talk about that we haven't already touched on?
I don't think so. I guess, yeah, for me, like the main shout out here is just like go on War Child UK's website and check out all the work we do. And just like keep an eye on the stuff that we're doing, because there's loads of really exciting things that I want to talk about, but I can't. Like it's going to be a really great year for us. So yeah, keep checking back. And yeah, like if anything that I've said has resonated with you, like please reach out. You can reach me at AaronSTV on Twitter, or like go to the War Child Gaming Twitter and reach out. I'm the one who mans that, so either way, it's me. And we can have a chat about like how you can get involved, the sorts of things that you can do, and also like any ideas that you have as well. Because we've like War Child has been doing work with the video games industry for a long time, but we're always looking for new ways to work and new people to do stuff with. And yeah. And then also follow me on Twitch, I guess, and hang out with me. I'll be streaming Zelda on Friday, like every other person on the planet.
I was going to say how excited you already are about that.
Oh, I'm so... It's taken me... Like, I will say I was at the terminal for the hype train for about 6 months. I wasn't sure if I was getting on. I've just been patiently waiting. And then they released the final story trailer a couple of weeks ago, and I got on the hype train.
Nice.
Where was it just self-protection? Why you've been waiting on that station, or was what was the reason for you to be like, eh?
So Breath of the Wild is probably my like number 3 game of all time. And I love it so much because it was a complete reset on the idea of an open world game. There had been quite a few games over the years that had done the open world thing. Like it really started with Skyrim in the 360 generation. Then we had like The Witcher 3, Horizon, which came out Zero Dawn, which came out just before, like literally the week before. Poor Horizon. And then Breath of the Wild came out, and it was like, if you can see it, you can get there. If you see a wall, you can climb it. This whole world is completely open to you, and you can go where you want at any time and progress in any way you want. And to me, Breath of the Wild is still the most successful open world game that's ever been made from the perspective of exploration. And why I was tentative over Tears of the Kingdom is, number one, it's the same world. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the joy for me in Breath of the Wild was discovering the world, and climbing to that high place and looking at the landscape and being like, oh, okay, well, it looks really interesting. I'll go to that. And then finding the interesting thing and then climbing somewhere high and like rinse and repeat. Whereas Tears of the Kingdom, I know they're going to have added an unbelievable amount of content to it, and it's not going to feel like the same world at all. But my original apprehension was, it's the same world, so I'm not going to get that feeling. Yeah, I'm going to feel like I'm retracing my steps, which I guess in a way I am. But hopefully definitely from what I've seen, there's a lot of new things to bring to it. And yeah, I was just a little bit worried that it didn't look super different to Breath of the Wild. And I still have that feeling a little bit. Like we have the new abilities for traversing the world. But it doesn't look super... It looks like... I always say that Breath of the Wild feels like a sandbox experiment of what open world games could be. And then it looks like Tears of the Kingdom takes all of those concepts and makes them really polished and into like a fully fleshed out experience. Because Breath of the Wild is very story-light. And it looks like Tears of the Kingdom might have more like meat on the bones of the story, I guess. So now that I'm on board with it, I'm still a little bit worried that I'm not going to get that same sense of wonder. But I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm sure it's going to be fine.
I think once you play it, it also it changes everything a bit, doesn't it? Like,
yeah,
it still brings you right back to how much you actually love Breath of the Wild. So and then it's like an additional, I don't know, I just think it will make a difference once you're in the world again. Yeah,
and one of some of my favorite parts of Breath of the Wild were the little references to earlier Zelda games, because there are quite a few of them, and I am a massive Zelda nerd. Like, it's my number one franchise, even though I say it's Bayonetta, really it's Zelda if I think about all the time that I've spent on it. So like all of those little like finding like Outset Island from Wind Waker in Breath of the Wild, and like finding a lake that's the lake from Twilight Princess, and the Temple of Time from Ocarina of Time. And then there's my favorite moment in Breath of the Wild is in one of the story cutscenes, the flashbacks. And it's a really simple detail, and it's the Master Sword flashes 3 times, and Zelda talks to it. But you don't hear what the Master Sword is saying, but Zelda responds to it. And that little flashing is the companion from Skyward Sword talking to Zelda. And I thought I invented that in my head. I thought it was just like, that's just a little thing that I've put together. And I went back recently and rewatched the cutscene, and the sound it makes is the sound that Fi makes when she comes out of the Master Sword to talk to Link in Skyward Sword. So it's fully intentional. And I really hope we get more moments like that in Tears of the Kingdom. Not necessarily like, here's that character in the flesh, but like just little nods to the history of the franchise.
I just find these things so fascinating, because people were sitting there and were actively thinking about how they could do shit like that, right? So it just always blows my mind, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, I'm way too oblivious to ever notice any of them. So, Cheesy wants to know what your first and second favorite game is now.
Number 1 is Bayonetta 3. Absolutely adore that game. It's not flawless, but in terms of games that I enjoyed from start to finish, unbroken, it's Bayonetta 3. And then number 2 is Persona 5. It's a unbelievably lengthy game. It took like 120 hours for me to beat it. But it's got an amazing cast of characters. It's got an incredible story. And the Persona franchise is just really unique in how it does its gameplay, because it's kind of a graphic novel and kind of a dungeon crawler. And like the relationships that you build in the graphic novel sections influence what you can do in the dungeon segments. So
interesting.
It's honestly, if you've got 120 hours to donate to a video game, it's definitely one I would say go to.
Cool.
Amazing. Does anybody else in chat have any questions for Jay? Because I'm dropping one more in the meantime. So if you have them, drop them in here, because I'm asking, who has been your favorite content creators to work with so far, and why is it us?
Obviously, you are up there, 100%.
Wow.
Number 1. Sorry, everyone else.
Naturally.
It was. I just love working with Hannah. Like Hannah Rutherford Lamadia, she's an absolute pro. You guys run the Christmas quiz with her as well. Like she's just, she's so unbelievably giving as a person. Like on top of the work she's done for War Child, she's done so much good just over the years for the industry. And I learned something from her every day. Like she's incredible. So, obviously joint with you guys, obviously.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the answer we were looking for. No, that's awesome. No, that's absolutely fantastic. I'm really excited that we had the opportunity to have this conversation, to learn more about you, and maybe even more importantly, to learn more about War Child and how to get involved with War Child. So you've already given us a little insight into where to get to know you. We're going to put all that into the show notes, links to all of Jay's places to find online, links to War Child, and links to Loading Ready Run as well, just because that's really cool. And like maybe they could inspire all of our charity streams. So yeah, no questions have come through chat. So I think that's going to be us. Unless anybody have any closing remarks?
Just from me, thank you so much for having me, to give me the opportunity to chat about War Child and about Twitch. It's been really fun. And yeah, it's been too long. It's been 3 years we've known each other and you haven't invited on me, so about time.
We have collaborated a few times in the past.
It is about time that you invite me, a cis presenting like mask guy, onto your feminism centered podcast.
I can totally come haunt you at TwitchCon for this.
That's fine. Don't worry. Oh yeah, and I'll be at TwitchCon representing War Child. That's the last thing I'll say.
Oh, nice. Do you have a booth?
No.
Okay.
I'm just going to be feet on the ground. Nice. Yeah, come say hello to me, and chat to me.
I shall do that.
I shall. You shall. And I'll definitely be able to talk about the things that are exciting at Twitch when I'm at TwitchCon.
Ooh,
that are coming up. So
can't wait to hear about them.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time and spending it with us and everybody in chat.
Thank you so much. Bye, chat.
And we will see you again next week on Geek Herring with another amazing episode where we have another guest, but it's not an interview. It is a deep dive into ethical porn and sex work. So
Very excited.
you can probably guess who our guest is, but if you can't guess, it'll be a surprise for next week.
Cool.
So thank you very much, and we will, see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. We're still live.
Podcast. We're still live.
Still live. That was awesome.
Thank you so much. That was so cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I had loads of fun doing that. That was great.
It's so
That's so good.
fascinating. Also.
Yeah.
Good. I'm
You
glad.
know, hopefully we can do some more fundraising for War Child this year.
Oh, yes, please. I would like that.
Sorry for
yeah.
the yawns. It's not because you're boring.
No, it's fine. Don't worry.
I know. I yawned halfway through and was like, "This isn't because you're boring."
So, like,
so.
it's funny. Like, so 2 months ago, I started medication for ADHD, and really, really weird that the sign that I know that my medication is going to start working is I start yawning, which is hilarious because it's stimulant medication, so it's designed to like perk up my entire like nervous system and like make me super alert and like able to concentrate. And my body's like, yeah, that make yawn. I yawn, please.
Interesting.
That's so funny.
Bodies are so fascinating.
So weird.
Mm-hmm.
So weird.
Yes, that too.
Mm.
Cool beans.
Cool.
Who are we
Right.
gonna?
Yeah, where are we
send
gonna
our love
go?
over to?
We can, if it loads. Are you loading? Perhaps. Yes. Go see Hannah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sounds like a good idea.
I was looking over her and then it didn't. I was like, she's not live. She's live. I don't know why I didn't see her in my list.
It
Hannah's
wasn't
always
loading
live.
for me, and I was like, "Oh, is it broken?"
So weird. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that. I think it's fitting since we talked about her.
Very true.
So copy the first raid message, please.
I feel bad. I'm not a subscriber.
What?
That's okay.
Our rate message doesn't have any. The other one is just for Amanda to copy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's the top one with the fishies.
Yeah, I can read. That's something I can do.
I often cannot read, so I feel like it's just because I know. That's why I can tell you.
It's true.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is whack.
Yeah.
So come back
yes,
tomorrow.
it is. Sorry, I'm very confused. Bank holiday yesterday. My brain is like, it's Monday. Today is Monday.
I have the biggest
It
Monday
is.
brain on the
I
planet.
knows.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Honestly.
Say hi to Hannah. And hope everyone in chat has a great day too.
Yes. And see you soon. And tomorrow come back here for whack.
Whack.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.